Good afternoon, everybody. This is Wade Fox. You're here with us for another edition of Second Opinion, and I'm your host for this session. Today we've got somebody very, very interesting. It's no stranger to Westford. It's Miss Nancy Cook. Nancy's well known to a lot of us here in town. She's, I think, lived here all her life. Has been active in a lot of organizations. A lot of you probably know of her through her work through the Cameron Senior Center. And she's also at one time the town clerk, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd like to introduce everybody to Miss Nancy Cook. Nancy, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to be here today.
Well, good. We've managed to talk her into coming in. It's for all of you that want to know, we're in the middle of the snowstorms, so it's something that we know all of you want to sit down and watch. We've asked Nancy to come in for our program because she recently has become very involved with a movement here in Westford that's known as All Lives Matter. I guess it's fair to say that you're the local representative of this movement?
It ended up that way.
Okay, good. Last month she organized a candlelight vigil or event here in the middle of town that over 100 people attended. And it came out on a day like today, very frigid, to the Westford Common, and they stood in support of All Lives Mattered. And Nancy, could you give us a little background about what precipitated this whole effort that you started on?
I think that primarily it came together because it felt like it was Black Lives Mattered, and that's every life matters. It shouldn't be black or white, but the fact that it was anti-police movement, the focus of the Black Lives Matter was an anti-police, that we felt that there's bad everywhere. There's good police, there's bad police, there's good white, there's good black. But 99.9% of the police departments, I think, are good people, and we needed to come out and show our supports that all lives matter, but especially we needed to show our support for the police departments and the work that they do every day. They put on that uniform and are out there with all facets of life, and I think we needed to stand up and say, we support all of you.
So would you say, what are the goals of the All Lives Matter? Is it to really bring that out, or, and not to put you on the spot, but you know, a lot of this was preceded by events in the middle of the country around St. Louis, and the people that started the Black Lives Matter probably had some very good reasons for it, but as with anything, Absolutely. It kind of evolved. So, I mean, was this in response to that because of what you saw happening on the TV, or?
It absolutely came as a response. It became more of a response locally when it came to Groton, when it came to Westford, when it seemed to take an incident that happened in New York, an incident that happened in Ferguson, and turn it into, we hate you all because of something that happened in Ferguson. And I wasn't there. I don't know the facts that happened in Ferguson. Maybe he was a bad police officer, maybe he did his job to perfection, but the aftermath of that was a disaster. And I think the fact that 2 police officers were gunned down in New York just because they put on the uniform to go and do something good just said, we have to stop, we have to take a deep breath.
Well, I think it's very important for our viewers to realize that a lot of this that you did was not spur of the moment, but certainly very quick. Can you tell us a little about how you got, you know, from the idea, how you got started, and who helped you?
Facebook. We put it on Facebook that we were going to have a rally, and actually we intended to do it the same night as the Black Lives Matter, to almost say hand in hand, all lives matter. It isn't black, it isn't white, it isn't police, it's everybody's life matters, which is why police lives matter and Police United for peace. I think that was the key factor. But we had over 300 people that said they were coming, and we were afraid of the forces we couldn't control. We didn't want to cause more problems. We didn't want somebody yelling at the people that were there in support of the Black Lives Matter. So we felt it was better for us if we backed it down and took it a week later. Okay. So that's what we did. So
how did you go about doing it, if I can ask? I mean, I assumed that there had to be, the Board of Selectmen had to say yes, and
Listen,
the
we
police department.
We talked to the police department because we certainly didn't want to do anything that would offend, upset, cause more commotion for the police department or put them in any harm's way in any manner. And everybody said, nope, you sounds like a good goal, keep it peaceful, you know, you need detail, keep us posted what your plans are. We didn't, the first one was very dark. The first rally on the Common was very dark. We brought a generator, we had spotlights so that you could see us, so you could see what was going on. Everybody had T-shirts, white T-shirts, so you could see us in the dark. I was amazed. As soon as we put it on Facebook, the banner was donated by Gary Lavelle. The shirts were donated. It just everybody felt they wanted to support the police.
Could you tell me a little about who the speakers were at this? I don't believe this was filmed.
It was not, and really there were a lot of interviews. We didn't speak. There was a woman, and I'm so sorry I can't remember her name. She works at the library, and she's from Ferguson. And she actually sent us a note and thanked us for putting this on so she could come and show that Ferguson people weren't all what we saw on TV, and that there was peace-loving people. And she was so happy to be able to say, I support the police. And it was just nice to, everybody came, the newspapers that were there interviewed some people and took pictures, but there were no speakers. There was no rally cry to say, we're good, they're bad. We just wanted to show our support that everybody matters, that we stand behind our police department.
So it met your expectations, I guess?
It did. It totally overwhelmed us. We had 100 T-shirts the night of the event, and they were all gone, and there were people without them. So we know that we at least had that many people come. And yes, and the police, our police department that showed up, there were police officers from Burlington, from Chelmsford that came, and they all came over and thanked us for coming out in support of them.
Well, outside of the physical feedback that you got with the police showing up, have you had any other comments? I mean, particularly since, you know, a lot of this was on Facebook and so forth. Has there been any kind of social media comments? Or
there were a lot of thank yous for having this. There were a lot of thank yous from a lot of people that didn't come because it was cold. It was 12 degrees, and some of us are nuts and still continued to go. But a lot of people stayed home because of the weather, and there was a lot of positive. A lot of families of police officers thanked us for doing it. But it truly is that everybody should say, let's take a deep breath and everybody matters. It isn't black, white, police. It's everybody.
Well, you know, this really kind of was generated out of a public discussion about the events in Ferguson and then the events in New York City. There were other events that were not as well publicized, but the problem with it, I think, is that too many times people forget that police officers will die in the line of duty, unfortunately, that have nothing to do with causes like this. And the question I want to ask is that, you know, as I understand it, Westford was really kind of a leader in this. There's not been a lot of follow-up All Lives Matter here in Massachusetts, but I'd also say the Black Lives Matter demonstrations, I understand they had a big thing in Boston that kind of maybe took the wind out of the sails.
It did.
So where do they stand now with this thing? Is this an event or an organization that's going to continue, or do you have anything else planned for this?
We don't. There is in the works, we understand, in Lowell, a gathering very similar to ours that we've been asked when they put it together they'd like us to come. They'd like as many people to come as possible. But as far as going future, we do have some bumper stickers that are the thin blue line that just say Police Lives Matter, and that differentiates a little bit from All Lives Matter, but the bottom line is they put on a uniform every day. They go out to protect us. Mm-hmm. You know, we all go about our lives and expect our husbands' wives to come home at the end of the day. They don't have that guarantee, and I guess maybe none of us do, but I think we need to stand up in support of them, and if there's further, we'll be there.
Okay. Is there an organization around this that you have like a website or a contact number or anything like that?
No, there's the Facebook page is still up, but
Okay.
that's really all we did was, it's a wonderful social media, Facebook.
I think it's important for us to understand that, you know, these organizations like this get started, and sometimes they bring home the real reason why we have these services. And I think you clearly said that with the police and so forth, and you know, firemen and all the people
right.
that serve here like
people.
that. Do you think that the Westford message got out enough to really impress people with about what Westford was about?
I think so.
I think that the reason why I'm saying that is I did see it on Facebook. I was in New Jersey actually, and I was looking at the patch, and I saw actually some local patches down there talking about Westford. So, I mean, I think people will remember the good parts of the whole thing. How did you see that in your Facebook presentations?
Well, I think exactly what you just said. We have I have friends in North Carolina that saw it on their local patch, and the fact that people were talking about it and did care enough to continue to post the banner of All Lives Matter, Police Lives Matter, I think that it set goodwill, and people were angry, and I think we kind of calmed it, brought it to a different level. It's good to be able to stand up and say we are in support of you. We're in support of everybody. We like to just have peace. Okay,
well, good. I'd like to go to one thing that I want to clarify, because a lot of the things that started off, and I know that the Board of Selectmen kind of got a little bit in trouble, at least in my mind, about that. They waive fees, but your fee was also waived.
It was. The detail officers that came out the night of this donated their time. Most of them weren't. I won't even say most of them. The ones that detailed for us were not on the clock that night, but the town had said they would waive it for us also. Okay.
As I wrap this up, I'd like to ask if people see this, they're watching this, and they have friends in other parts of the state or on the Facebook, and they want to do something like this for their local police. Is there any? I mean, are you available as a consultant, or what? Is anybody? Can anybody just do this, or do
anybody can reach out on Facebook and message us, and we absolutely will respond to it, and with any questions that they have, anything that we ran into that they might run into, or any help we can give them, we'd be more than glad to.
Well, good. I thank you for your time, Nancy. I know it's appreciated a great deal. I know the police appreciate it here. I think a lot of the people in Westford have been a little quiet sometimes, and sometimes it just needs a spark to get out there and bring them together. So I thank you for it, and I'm sure that we'll probably hear more from you. So I want to thank you all for joining us today, and just remember, if you're confused about anything, always get a second opinion.